Hello, everyone. Welcome back. Another day, another huge piece of drama in the comic book world. Hot Shots Comics. It's not looking good for Hot Shots Comics, aka Asheville Comics, aka Doug Segelis. Saw this scrolling down my Instagram feed of apparently all these people getting completely ripped off by putting their trust in this man to send their books to CGC for a pre-screen 9.8, only to find that their books never made it down there. There was no order placed, and they're 2 years, a year and a half to 2 years out of putting these orders in. This is straight up scam, straight up fraud. I had to talk about this. And the main reason I wanted to talk about it is I was at this shop. So a few years ago, a couple friends and my wife and I, this was before kids, before all that, we went down to Asheville, North Carolina for a little trip, and we went to several of these comic shops down there. If you guys have followed the channel for any length of time, you may have seen this video. And we were at this Asheville Comics. I was singing nothing but praises about this place. They had this cool checkerboard floor, and they had all these omnibus and collected editions. I thought their display was very nice. They had a little bit of everything for everybody. They had slabs, they had some keys, they had the new comic books all displayed very well. I was really impressed with the shop. They even had this loyalty system where if you bought X amount of stuff, you could come back and get a discount. They had these full art boxes, which a lot of people have asked me where I've gotten these full art boxes, and this was the place. And we patronized a few other shops when we were there, but that was definitely the gem of the ones we went to. Little did I know that this guy that owns this shop, aka the owner of Hot Shots Comics, Doug Segelis, was possibly living in the back of the store. There's been reports of people saying that it smells like cat litter and tuna, and there's cats just running around. Which we have a shop here in my local area where they've got cats that'll jump up on the Dungeons and Dragons and the Magic the Gathering tables, and you're just trying to sling some spells, and you've got a cat with no eyes, just right in your face. But that's besides the point. Our boy Dougie, he's in some hot water. So what happened? So the first thing I see in all this fiasco was this message from CGC Mike, an administrator on the CGC message boards, basically saying effective immediately the membership of Hot Shots Comics, Asheville Comics, Douglas Segelis has been terminated by CGC. And this is what caught my eye because it was Asheville Comics. If you have submitted comics to CGC through Hot Shots Comics, or if you have purchased pre-sales of CGC graded books from Hot Shots Comics and you believe those books are currently at CGC, please contact customer service. Basically, our boy Dougie C was taking pre-orders for CGC 9.8 pre-screen books, books that hadn't come out yet or were just coming out. He was going to screen them and then send them to CGC for the customers. Well, customers were waiting these exorbitant amount of time and were never getting their books. They were filing complaints. They were, saying, CGC, what's going on? Where are my books? And our boy Dougie C was telling the customers, hey, this is CGC's problem. They're backed up. They can't get your books to you because, they've got so many books they're grading down there. Which, if I was somebody that was working with Dougie C, I would probably believe that, because in 2021 and 2022, CGC was absolutely packed to the brim. They were leaving packages unopened, packages, people were waiting just these crazy amount of times because they were so backed up. But we are here in June 2023, and the modern turnaround time is 7 days. Pre-screens obviously take a little bit longer, but it shouldn't be more than 2 or 3 months for these turnaround times. So what happened? Well, our boy Dougie C was more than likely just keeping the money, pocketing the money, and just kept passing the buck, passing the blame off on this person, off on CGC, off on all these extenuating circumstances that were his fault completely. So if you go on Google and look up Asheville Comics, his Google reviews, that's all you need to know. he's responding to like 1-star reviews with these lengthy, insulting things. And I have plenty of experience with that, with my whole situation with getting kicked out of 2 shops. And Man Bun just, I mean, honestly, he spoke very much like Man Bun. So I would assume that many of these comic shop owners are of the same ilk. They speak in a very similar manner on Google reviews. Well, I had to look more into this. I had to find like where this guy was communicating from, and sure enough, he's got an Instagram. Let's take a look at what this guy's response to this whole fiasco was. Hi folks, we wanted to see, that's a great way to start it out. That's like a presidential way, like Joe Biden, like, folks. Hi folks. We wanted to provide some more details as far as where we are getting these things caught up and shipping out older orders. We're working on a blog that will provide all the details of how we got to this point and what we're doing to recover. But for this post, I just wanted to tell you where we are right now. We've been dealing directly with CGC as well as their debt collecting lawyer for some time. We've been in a very poor financial position that we are just beginning to dig out of, closing 2 of our 3 shops in order to facilitate this process. They're asking for sympathy. They're basically saying, hey, our poor us, we're having to close our shops, we don't have any money, have pity on us. We just finally this month got to the point financially where we can make regular payments to CGC so that we can begin receiving regular shipments, somewhere in the neighborhood of 100 comics at a time, weekly to bi-weekly. We had all this arranged, told their collection lawyer what to expect, when to expect payment, and then last week he and their own lawyer, who we've been also speaking with, went silent. We want these orders to be fulfilled at least as badly as you do, but probably more so. A little over a week ago, we explained a doable timeline for us, verified that CGC would ship the books as we paid for them, and said our first payment would cover 4 boxes of 25, the oldest ideally. This guy's trying to pass the blame again, and this is kind of a thing. Like, don't mess with CGC. Like, I mean, they've got money, they have reputation in the community, they've got a whole legal team apparently, they've got debt collection lawyers. What are you doing, dude? Like, it's one thing to like rob from like somebody like me or some schmuck, but it's another thing to mess with their money. You don't mess with their money, dude. They will get you. That payment was supposed to be Thursday or Friday, but no one got back to us. Finally, this morning, we got an email that states that now all of a sudden they were going to require 25% of the debt minimum to take a payment. Well, this was news to us, was we already agreed on a little over $2,000, and they were fine with this. But now they've decided to delay the process and add this little wrinkle. This roadblock, if you will, this new requirement will add months to the timeline for us to receive graded comics instead of possibly this week. We wanted everyone to know what's going on and who is now responsible for the extension in the delays. For anyone interested in speaking to them directly, they can be contacted, yada, yada, yada. Perhaps with enough feedback, they will remove this requirement. We can start shipping out your comics. We are sorry for any continued delays. Well, newsflash, they're not working with CGC. CGC is not working with this guy at all. They said they've terminated the contract. And the way that message read from that administrator, it was like they didn't even have like a contract or they weren't even a authorized seller. I was aware of this authorized seller status. I think there's a couple YouTube guys that do it. Other dealers are like certified CGC sellers, basically that they can submit your books for you. I don't know what all that entails, but I know that that's a component of it, that they are a certified CGC dealer. They are in business with CGC. So this guy posts this picture of all these slabs, and to be honest with you, that is probably real. When I was at that Asheville Comics, they had like all these slabs like just kind of haphazardly thrown in these bins. I was digging through them like crazy. I found some crazy stuff. I bought 3 slabs from him, and all 3 of them were signature series, including this one right here. This is First Deathstroke, signed by George Perez, 9.4 white pages. I was over the moon to have this. I also bought Thor #5, the Donny Cates run, First Black Winter, signed by Donny Cates in a 9.8. And then I also bought a Secret Wars 8 signed by Beatty, Jim Shooter, and Mike Zeck in an 8.5, I believe, newsstand. I bought a bunch of stuff from him, and I kind of regret doing it now, because if this is the kind of business practices that he conducts himself with, it just, it's really sketchy. So that's the story, and now I want to give my take on grading new books. I mean, guys, I'm not above this. I'm not saying that, I've never done it. I would say most of us have done this. If you've been collecting for any amount of time, a new book comes out. It's got some heat behind it. Legends of the Dark Knight, Death Metal #1, First Robin King. This is a prime example. A hot book, came out in mid to late 2020. I sent it down there. It was a 9.8. I was like, might as well. And this is not a good investment. This is not the game you want to be playing, because at a minimum, this is $24, $25, $27, I think now, for a modern book submission. I don't think I could get $25 for this book if I wanted to sell it. I don't think that I could get much of anything for this book. And how many of these books are people getting pre-screened that turn into something like this? I would say more of them than not. I mean, they're not all Something is Killing the Children. They're not all Stray Dogs. They're not all 8 Billion Genies. They're not these books. Like those are like a flash in a pan type books. Pre-screening, pre-grading, you're already asking for an incredibly long wait time right off the bat, because not only do the books have to come in, they have to be pre-screened by that owner. They have to be shipped out. They have to be graded. And in a grading pre-screen 9.8, that takes longer. You're putting so much trust in multiple parties, not only the distributor, the comic book shop owner, and the grading, the postal service, to get everything in a timely manner. And especially when you're paying for something up front, PayPal and credit card companies will only honor these type of transactions for so long. This is not good business. If you're going to do stuff like this, you probably just need to be doing this like on your own dime, in your own time. That rhymed. But that's kind of the way that I would suggest doing this. All right, so let's wrap this up, put a bow on it. What do we learn from this? Don't do this. Don't submit pre-screened CGC 9.8s. It's a waste of time. It's a waste of money. Don't do it. Watch out for Dougie C. He's going to go out there and take your money. Asheville Comics is probably not long for this world, and Dougie C might be needing to lawyer up. It's not looking good. I don't wish prison on anybody, but it's not looking good for Dougie C. Guys, what do you guys think? If at any point in time you like this video, give the thumbs up. And if you like this video, subscribe for more. Take care.